Hey YouTube, CatmanAwesome9 here, with some quick discussion videos and some things I want to talk about, with the sneak peek being this Sunday for Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy, and then the set releasing on the following Friday. There's going to be a lot of changes to the game, and I think everybody's got this on their mind, everybody's been thinking about these things. I figured I'd go over some quick little things I wanted to talk about, and then move on to that, because that's a bigger thing, and I've been thinking about it for a while, and I just thought I'd get it off my chest. So, to start, let's talk about some things that are coming into the meta that have been out for, about a month now? It'll be about a month here soon. Evil Swarms. They're as good as they were expected to be, in my opinion. They don't shut down as hard as people. I think that people really relied on Ophion to just be there to make everything okay all the time. I prefer Bahamut. I think it's a better card anyway, because as long as you have an Evil Swarm in your hand, it's kind of like a big eye, so it's pretty awesome. But when it comes down to it, Ouroboros, Ophion, Bahamut are really, really good cards, but they're not meta-breaking cards. There are a lot of easy ways around them. I mean, for example, you can always Dark Hole, and if they activate their spell, then you just use monster effects to destroy it. Or you would destroy it by battle, because there are some monsters you could probably make without going into level 5 or higher special summoning. I know a lot of things that I can normal summon that can get over a 25-50 and then open my 5 plays. I lied about that part, but I mean, there are some things you can do. And all you have to do is wait for them to not have any material or not have anything to help them, and you've got it. You've got them. They can't do anything. I think that, to be honest, Ouroboros and Bahamut, the only reason I like Bahamut better is because of his big eye-like effect, and I always thought Bryonak was a lot cooler than Gungnir. Let's not lie to ourselves. The reason that Bryonak and Trishula are banned is because they're both way better than Gungnir. Even Douloran is better than Gungnir. And Bahamut's cool. I really like the artwork. But this was my first pull, my first secret rare out of Hidden Arsenal 7, so yay for me. But it's an interesting deck to me. I've always liked Evil Swarms, even before they released. I think that when they started putting them up on DN, I started using them, and I just fell in love. I mean, they're just so cool. You can't just look at them and go, that's so stupid. Then I'm going to talk about some stuff that you guys probably don't want to hear about because it's kind of boring. But it's an old deck that I've always kind of wanted to build, and as stupid as it is and as bad as it is, I think you'll all kind of think it's funny. Winged Kuriboh OTK. You know, that card that Yugi gave Jaden. I got the Winky one. Yay. That, he always says is Saki. He hates him because he bugs him all the fucking time. But, anyway, we got Transcendent Wings, which, you send your Winged Kuriboh and 2 cards from your hand, and you bring out Winged Kuriboh level 10. This deck, I don't think it ever really even saw that much play, but it was always a cool idea to me. It's like, okay, so you stall them to death, then you just normal summon your Winged Kuriboh and let it go. Normal summon Winged Kuriboh, set Transcendent Wings, wait till their turn, activate, send, level 10, activate effect, blow up everything. And then they take damage. I mean, it's an interesting deck. I'm not going to talk about this one for long. I just kind of wanted to show these and tell you that I would like to see this deck played because it's hilarious when it works. And then I want to move on to something that you will all hate me for saying, more than likely, because a lot of people hate this guy right here. So you can see we got to reassemble him. Exodia, the Forbidden One. He's hilarious in the fact that he just wins you the game. And I know how a lot of people just completely hate playing against Exodia decks. It's so annoying to have to put up with them, just watch them draw for, a turn and a half and then stall you out. And then draw and then stall you out. But I think that Exodia is completely fair. If Exodia wasn't fair, Konami would have seen to not hit them to 1, but to ban them if they were that bad. And to be honest, Exodia decks are pretty easy to shoot around. I mean, Droll and Lockbird has become pretty meta. And that shuts down Exodia, that shuts down Elemental Dragons, and that shuts down Prophecies. So, A lot of pluses lost for those decks if people actually start really, I mean, seriously, like side decking that at 3, which I've seen a lot of people doing because it deals with the meta. When you go into match settings, you want to be able to deal with the meta game 2. Even if you can't deal with them game 1, know that game 2 you can stop them. Exodia is in no way meta anymore. There was a short period of time after it went to Worlds that no hope the hope for Exodia, which is still a viable Exodia deck, and it is still just as nasty as it was, even without Sangan, which is hilarious because, I mean, Exodia's players just ran Sangan for a free head. All the other pieces came easy. So, it doesn't really matter. They could still draw into it, and it's just like one more draw card as opposed to Sangan to search it. So, they weren't really affected too badly. And I want to talk about a card that I'm really sad never gets to see any play anymore, and I have a copy of it. Exodia Nekros, that is the Dark Crisis one, and I've got these 3 Contract with Exodias. These 2 are the reprints, if you can't tell. This one is from Dark Crisis, and you can see the onks across all of the headstones for the 5 pieces. And these ones, I think, are both from Dark... this is the Dark Crisis reprint, and this is the Dark Revelations one. And as you can see, they remove the onks, just like they do with, like, everything. I just like Exodia Nekros. That's one of the only ones I've ever seen. I know a lot of people probably have them, and they just kind of keep put up, but... He sadly will never see play, for the fact that you only have one of each of the pieces. They're useless to you in the graveyard because they can't win you the game. You can't get them all to the graveyard consistently enough. Exodia Nekros can still be destroyed by a card effect, even if he can't be destroyed by battle. And a 2300 level 4 is nothing super impressive in today's meta, which is pretty crazy when you think about that. Like, this thing was just indestructible, it was godlike, and then now it's... I assume, I didn't play back then, but if I had played back then, I probably would have found a way to, before Exodia was hit to 1, to build Exodia Nekros. Or even with Exodia Nekros, even with that at 1, you have the painful choice, so did it really matter? You picked all 5 pieces, and whatever he gave you in your hand, you just ditched anyway, and then got out Nekros and protected your graveyard somehow. There you go, But, yeah, that's it for the cards, the decks, and discussions that I have stuff to show you to talk about. And I want to talk about the state of the game. And I know that, I feel that there's no way I'm the only person who feels this way right now. That the game, I'm not worried for the game as in it'll be ruined. Oh my god, it's the end of the world, the elemental dragons are coming, and Dragosac, and because it's not a big deal to me. Inzectors came and they went. Inzectors were the end of the game. Remember that? Who else was the end of the game? Lightsworns, at one point, was the end of the game. Chaos Dragons were the end of the game. Every deck is the end of the game when it comes out because it's feared. Then somebody finds a way to side against it, and nobody cares anymore. Or the ban list comes out, and they hit one of the very valuable cards out of the deck, nobody cares anymore. And I don't like it when people talk about that, but that's not what I'm going to talk about. What I'm talking about is the state of the game in, how do I phrase this, in excitement. How exciting it'll be and how much fun it'll be. Because once those come out, everybody knows what they do, and everybody knows that they can make the exact same play every turn without having to use that much of their hand anyway. So they're not just gonna get up and die, and that's what makes them so annoying. And hearing all this talk about Dark Hole and people saying Dark Hole is not main deck worthy anymore. Dark Hole, that's cool because you can Dark Hole somebody's field, and the next turn they'll have the exact same field again. So you really didn't do anything. You just wasted a card in your deck and then activated it to do nothing, but buy yourself one turn of life, and it didn't even work. And I don't like that, but what I mean by the state of the game is I'm sadly starting to get bored with the game, and I get this way just about every time a new set comes out. It's just like just before the set comes out, I'm just like looking at all my stuff, and I'm going, I have nothing. I have a whole bunch of stuff. I have like commons and everything. I have like anything that I could want to build budget decks, but when it comes to building expensive decks, decks that would win at tournaments, I have heroes. That's it. I don't have any other deck that has any money put into the extra deck, or any money put into it, or has been put together at least. I mean, I have some good stuff that I haven't put into a deck in a while because I can't find a deck to play them in. But when it comes down to excitement in this game, I feel that this set and then Judgment of the Light, and I fear for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I go to my locals, and they may have had people start coming back again, but last few times I've gone, it's been me and like maybe 2 people, or no one shows up, And it's really sad to look at the game that I've fallen in love with and I've enjoyed for so long, starting to do that. And I almost just I feel a lot of things. I probably have said that about 1,000 times. I'm gonna try to stop saying that phrase. But it is. I think that just maybe that between Judgment of the Light and Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy, when it comes down to that September ban list, and it's way too early to be talking about ban lists, and I'm not talking about what's going to be banned. I'm just saying, when it comes to that ban list, Konami's going to have some difficult decisions to make. They're either going to have to sack off a lot of new decks that are going to be up and coming because they're just so good, or they're going to have to start taking the format to slower, at least. For me, at least, I think. But when it comes down to it, their options are either kill decks that are topping right now at the rate that they're topping, because I guarantee you, after Friday, Elemental Dragons are going to top every YCS for like the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and they're going to be the top 3 or 4 decks, and then somebody's going to find a way to beat them, and that'll slow down, and it'll come down to it just being like first and second, and then Mermails, because, that's how it works. But, when it comes down to that ban list, it could make or break the game, I feel. Because if they, and I'm not saying they're going to, but if they were to ban a bunch of the Elemental Dragons, so like say they ban Blaster and hit Titled 2, they hit Tempest to 2, and they hit Redox to 1. Like, their whole deck just died, and a lot of people are going to be very angry that they put money into that deck and that extra deck, and then it's going to be dead. Or Big Eye. I think that it would be more hurtful to them to hit the extra deck cards, and that's something that really bothers me, because I don't want Konami to take away Big Eye and to take away Dragosack so soon, because then a whole archetype loses its boss monster, and one of the best Exceeds ever released gets killed. And nobody wants that. And it's because Konami has forced this upon us. They've given us the tools to build some of the most innovative and some of the most creative and unique decks possible. We have options for so much stuff at this point. And for all those people who go, well, back when I played and there was like, it was Jinzo as the biggest monster and stuff like that, you can't keep that in mind. You have to take that and go, yeah, and that time kind of sucked. Because as simple as the game, even as you feel that it may be getting simpler and you may have to think a little bit less, there's so many more things that you can do, and that's what people need to focus on more than anything is, what can I build? What can I put together? What can I do that's unique and that no one else has done before? Rather than, what just topped at the YCS? I think I'm going to test that on DN a few times, then go buy that deck. Oh, somebody topped with a very similar deck at another YCS? I'm just going to take a couple cards out of it and replace them with those cards. And then I'm going to go play it at my locals all the time. Because that's, I understand it for winning purposes, but I just never had fun with that. I'm not a very good deck builder, and I'm not going to lie to you guys and say, I'm the greatest and I can do whatever. Because I've seen people who can build circles around me when it comes to actually making decks, because the best I can do, I think the most unique deck I ever built was that Six Samurai Destiny Hero deck, which was a lot of fun. It was a really interesting deck, and I probably will never build it ever again just because I don't want to anymore. It was fun when it lasted, but now it's it's been done, and it's not fun for me anymore to play a lot of decks. But um, yeah, like I was saying, it will make or break the game in my opinion, because in hitting certain things, you risk losing a lot of people from the game for a format, or maybe even permanently. And in not banning certain things, you risk losing just as many people, because they're going to say, I don't want to live in a world where Konami will allow this to continue, and you got both sides of the coin. I think it'd be hilarious if they brought back Raigeki. That'd be like the stupidest thing ever. Like, oh, because Elemental Dragons are too good, they're just going to bring back Raigeki so we get another free field pop so we can actually take care of them twice. And But anyway, as threatening as they are very splashable, and that's what really makes them such a threat. And I think that that's what people should be afraid of, almost more so than pure Elemental Dragons, is the fact that Mermails are getting Tidal. And, as if they didn't have enough level 7s they could spam out. And that, what's the other deck that's going to be using those probably? Dragoonities are getting Tempest, which means Dragoonities plus Big Eye. There's some scary things that can come from this, is what I'm saying. Can. And I just hope that everything goes together the way it should. And hopefully I'll be able to go to the Sneak Peek Sunday. I probably won't be able to, but if I do, I will report how I did and everything. This is really really pretty crazy what's going on right now, and I feel that I said it again. I think that with Elemental Dragons and Phantom Beastcrafts and Battling Boxers, I hate that name. It's so stupid. I wish they just left it Burning Knuckler. And there's one other archetype, I think. Is it 2 or was there 1 or 2? Oh, Harpy Support. That's coming out finally. Everybody's been freaking out about and been so ready for. Yeah, I guess enjoy the game. Have fun. New set comes out. Everything gets crazy. 2 sets in 2 months, which is pretty insane with the amount of stuff that's coming out right now. Between Evil Swarms, Elemental Dragons, and like I said, all these new archetypes. And there's a lot of new stuff to do. So even though I am in one of those I don't know what to play slumps, I'll probably figure out something. Evil Swarms were an option when I thought they were going to be budget because they're Hidden Arsenal. And then I found out they're not budget, even though they're Hidden Arsenal. So I guess I'll just have to figure something out. And I'll see you guys later. CatmanAwesome9 signing out.